Welcome to It Started Somewhere, the podcast that uncovers the history behind the familiar. I'm your host, Shaimond, and today we're diving into the clickety-clackety world of typewriters. So grab your coffee, settle into your favorite chair, and let's journey through time to explore the evolution of this revolutionary writing machine. Imagine a world without computers, without smartphones, without any way to quickly put words on paper except with a pen or pencil. It's hard to fathom in our digital age, but for centuries, this was reality. The dream of a machine that could transcribe spoken words onto paper has been a goal of inventors since the dawn of human civilization. It wasn't until the 14th century that inventors began to seriously toy with the idea of creating prototype models of early printing machines. Some of these early contraptions even received patents and made their way to the public, only to be abandoned later. In 1714, an English inventor named Henry Mill patented what he called a machine for transcribing letters. While this might sound promising, we actually know very little about Mill's invention. It's possible that it never made it past the conceptual stage. Fast forward to 1830, and we find an American named William Burt creating the first typographer. This precursor to the typewriter used a dial to select letters instead of individual keys. Burt, a government surveyor, hoped this invention would increase his work efficiency. Unfortunately, the dial design made it painfully slow, rendering it impractical for everyday use. The real breakthrough came in 1867, when three Americans from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Christopher Sholes, Samuel W. Soule, and Carlos Glyden, patented what is considered the first true typewriter. Their creation looked like a peculiar cross between a piano and a kitchen table, but it laid the foundation for the typewriters we recognize today. Sholes and his team spent the next few years refining their invention. By 1873, they had produced 50 units, but struggled to find buyers. In a twist of fate that would change the course of typewriter history, they sold the production rights to gun manufacturer Philo Remington. In 1874, E. Remington and Sons introduced the first Remington typewriter to the market. This early model could only type capital letters, which was a significant limitation. However, just 4 years later, in 1878, Remington unveiled the game-changing No. 2 model. The Remington No. 2 introduced two revolutionary features. It could type both uppercase and lowercase letters. It featured the QWERTY keyboard layout, which is still standard on keyboards today. The QWERTY layout, named after the first 6 letters on the top left letter row, was Sholes' solution to a common problem with early typewriters, key jamming. By studying the most frequently used letter combinations in English, Sholes rearranged the keys to minimize jamming. While this arrangement actually slowed down typing for many Hunt and Peck typists of the time, it ultimately proved to be more efficient as touch typing became more prevalent. The QWERTY layout has stood the test of time, remaining the standard keyboard arrangement for over 140 years. Another significant innovation came with the introduction of the shift key in 1878. This clever mechanism allowed each typewriter to print 2 different characters, effectively cutting the number of keys and type bars in half. The shift key not only simplified the internal mechanisms of the typewriter, but also significantly reduced manufacturing costs. This price reduction, coupled with the easier operation, contributed greatly to the mass adoption of typewriters. As the 20th century dawned, a new need emerged: portability. The first successful portable typewriters hit the market in 1909. These machines were designed with lighter parts than standard models, making them more compact but slightly less sturdy. Portable typewriters gained significant popularity in the mid-1920s, particularly among journalists. Models like the Barlett and the Corona No. 3 were favorites due to their compact size and ability to type just as fast as their larger counterparts. While Remington had dominated the early typewriter market, a new player emerged in the 1890s that would change the game. John Thomas Underwood purchased the rights to a new typewriter design from inventor Franz Xavier Wagner. In 1896, the Underwood 1 typewriter made its debut. This model introduced a design that we'd recognize today, with the typing area fully visible to the typist. The Underwood quickly gained popularity due to its superior engineering. By 1897, the U.S. Navy had purchased 250 units, and by 1915, Underwood typewriters were ubiquitous in offices around America. As typewriters became more common, they began to leave their mark on culture, particularly in the world of literature. Mark Twain, always an early adopter of new technology, purchased a Remington typewriter and became the first author to submit a typewritten book manuscript. Twain's Life on the Mississippi holds the distinction of being the first typewritten manuscript submitted to a publisher. However, it's worth noting that Twain didn't type it himself. That honor goes to his secretary, Isabel V. Lyon. Interestingly, after 2 years of using a typewriter, Twain gave up on it. Perhaps he found the Clickety Clack too distracting for his creative process. The next big leap in typewriter technology came from the introduction of electric typewriters. Surprisingly, the first electrical operated typewriter was invented by Thomas A. Edison in 1872, consisting of a printing wheel. However, it wasn't until the 1920s that the electric typewriters began to take traction in offices. These machines offered faster typing speeds and a lighter touch, reducing fatigue for typists who spent long hours at their machines. In 1961, IBM introduced a revolutionary new design, the Selectric typewriter. Instead of individual type bars, the Selectric used a spherical type ball that pivoted to the correct letter before striking the paper. The Selectric had several advantages. It eliminated jamming, as there were no type bars to tangle. The type ball could be easily switched out, allowing for different fonts and even different alphabets. It was significantly faster than traditional typewriters. The Selectric was so successful that it dominated the electric typewriter market for the next 2 decades. Beyond their practical applications, typewriters played a significant role in social change, particularly for women. In the 19th century, typewriters opened up new job opportunities for women, allowing them to enter the workforce as typists and secretaries. Before the typewriter, office clerk roles were predominantly held by men. By the early 20th century, the typewriter had become a symbol of modernity in progress, with women typists at the forefront of this transformation. Now, let's take a moment to explore some fascinating typewriter trivia. The top row of the QWERTY keyboard contains all the letters needed to type the word typewriter. This wasn't by accident. It allows salespeople to quickly demonstrate the machine by typing out its name. Many old typewriters don't have a number 1 key. Typists would use a lowercase l instead. This clever workaround saved space and reduced manufacturing costs. Early typewriters didn't have an exclamation mark either. Typists would type an apostrophe, backspace, then type a period to create one. Some typewriters were designed with 2 alphabets or special symbols. These Siamese typewriters had 2 separate keyboards and a joint carriage. In a dramatic marketing stunt, the Royal Typewriter Company once dropped over 200 typewriters from an airplane to prove their durability. They eventually delivered over 11,000 typewriters this way, with only 10 being damaged. As personal computers began to enter homes and offices in the 1980s, the reign of the typewriter started to wane. Word processors and computer printers offered greater flexibility, easier editing, and quieter operation. However, the influence of the typewriter lives on. Our computer keyboards still use the QWERTY layout, and many of our formatting conventions we use in word processing, like double spacing and indenting paragraphs, originated with typewriter users. While typewriters may have largely disappeared from our daily lives, the impact on society, business, and culture are undeniable. They revolutionized written communication, played a crucial role in women's entry into the workforce, and shaped the way we interact with text. Today, typewriters have found a new life as collector's items and nostalgic curiosities. Some writers and poets still prefer the tactile experience and distraction-free nature of typing on a mechanical typewriter. As we wrap up our journey through the history of the typewriter, take a moment to appreciate the next keyboard you use. Whether it's on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, each keystroke carries with it over 150 years of innovation, problem solving, and human ingenuity. This has been It Started Somewhere, and I'm Shaimond, reminding you that every object has a story. You just need to know where to look. Until next time, keep exploring the extraordinary histories behind our ordinary things. I'll catch you on the next episode.